At 5:11 a.m., Vladimir Putin has just finished a televised address, boasting that his military has launched 800 missiles into Ukrainian cities to mark the 4th anniversary of the invasion. He feels untouchable, convinced that his invincible defense network has turned the southern military district headquarters into a fortress. He is completely oblivious to the fact that a 550-pound carbon fiber ghost is currently skimming the surface of the Don River at just 50 feet. The year is 2026 and the geopolitical stakes have never been higher. While Washington bickers over aid and NATO fears escalation, Ukraine has decided to stop playing by the old rules. The target is the brain of the Russian Southern Front, the administrative heart where generals orchestrate the destruction of Ukraine. If this building burns, the entire southern logistics chain catches a fever. The tool for this surgical amputation is the Liutyi long-range drone. Each unit weighs 550 pounds, carries a 165-pound high-explosive warhead, and has a range of over 1,000 miles. The kicker? It costs just $200,000. That is the price of a high-end Porsche 911. Think about that. Russia is spending billions on a defense triad, and Ukraine is about to shatter it with a fleet that costs less than a supercar collection. The Liutyi swarm is 94 seconds from impact, and the Russian Southern Command is about to realize that in 2026, even the most expensive fortress is just a stationary target for a smart ghost. 1:30 a.m. The 12 Liutyi drones have been airborne for nearly 4 hours, cutting through the freezing Russian night toward the heart of the southern military district. They aren't just flying, they are surfing the Don River. By maintaining a terrifyingly low altitude of 40 to 60 feet, the drones are exploiting a phenomenon known as the ground effect, an aerodynamic cushion that increases lift and efficiency, allowing them to stretch their fuel reserves for the long-range sprint. At this altitude, the drones are practically invisible. To the Russian defense network, the Don River looks empty, but beneath the radar's gaze, 12 165-pound warheads are moving at 130 miles per hour. But the environment is a brutal adversary. At -4 degrees Fahrenheit, the winter air is dense and heavy, turning every gust of wind into a physical hammer blow. As the formation rounds a sharp bend in the river, a sudden 30 miles per hour crosswind slams into the lead drone, pushing its 550-pound frame 12 feet off course toward a jagged stone embankment. But this is where the Liutyi's specialized nav brain proves its worth. The onboard AI, utilizing a combination of terrain-following sensors and 3D satellite mapping, detects the drift and calculates a course correction in exactly 0.8 seconds. The drone's control surfaces twitch with mechanical precision, banking the craft away from the rocks and back into the center of the river corridor. It's a masterclass in autonomous navigation. The Ukrainian pilot, sitting in a bunker hundreds of miles away, watches the telemetry with white knuckles. He isn't manually steering, he is supervising a digital predator that is smarter than the wind. It's like driving a Ferrari at top speed under a low-clearance highway bridge to avoid a police speed trap, except the bridge is 500 miles long and the speed trap is a nuclear-capable military district. The swarm has successfully navigated the most dangerous stretch of the river and is now closing in on the 200-mile mark. The invincible Russian giant is still snoring, completely unaware that 12 supercars are currently racing through its basement. 3:15 a.m. The silent Russian hinterland is shattered as the S-400's 92 N6E gravestone radar captures a faint, intermittent flicker on its display. The Russian commander, a battle-hardened lieutenant colonel with years of experience in the Syrian theater, doesn't waste a second on doubt. He knows that in 2026, a ghost on the radar is a death warrant. Within exactly 47 seconds, the entire southern military district is slammed into full alert. The Russian response is a display of professional ferocity. Mobile Pantsir S-1 units, the bouncers of the Russian sky, roar out of their concealed hangars and begin positioning themselves along the high embankments of the Don River, their twin 30mm cannons slewing toward the darkness. 80 miles to the west at Taganrog Air Base, 2 Su-35 Flanker E fighters scream off the runway on full afterburner, hitting Mach 1.2 in just 4 minutes. They are hunting for anything that shouldn't be there. From the Russian command perspective, this is a textbook layered defense activation. They are reacting as fast as Lightning McQueen, mobilizing a $100 million response to a threat they can barely perceive. But the Russian high-tech net has a fatal flaw. It is designed to catch eagles, not earthworms. While the Su-35 pilots are scanning the cold night sky with their powerful Irbis-E radars, the 12 Liutyi drones are currently flying lower than a snake's belly. By maintaining a terrifying altitude of just 40 feet above the river's surface, they remain effectively invisible. The S-400 and the Su-35 radars are being choked by ground clutter, the massive electronic interference caused by the river's jagged banks and the surrounding trees. To the Russian billion-dollar computers, the drones are just a glitch in the geography. The Ghost Swarm is gliding through the gaps in the giant's armor, moving deeper into the kill zone while the Russian superheroes are busy punching at the clouds. The birthday gift is still on its way, and the most sophisticated air defense in the world is currently looking in the wrong direction. 03:45 a.m. Entering the inner defensive ring. The tactical geometry of the war has just reached its most critical nodal point. On the Russian command screens, the situation remains a chaotic mess of intermittent signals and false positives. The S-400 Gravestone and the Pantsir S-1 are masterpieces of engineering, optimized to intercept high-velocity targets in the clear blue sky. On paper, they represent the gold standard for layered defense, capable of tracking hundreds of targets and delivering Mach 6 death to anything that breathes in their airspace. Everything suggests that this multi-layered defensive wall is impenetrable. But the Russian High Command is currently falling victim to a fatal gap in their sensor doctrine: the inability to perceive reality beneath 100 feet. The Don River is not just a body of water, it is a natural radar corridor, a physical hole in the Russian umbrella. By maintaining their altitude at 40 feet, the Liutyi drones are utilizing the ground clutter of the river's surface, a chaotic mess of electronic reflections that acts like digital smoke, to vanish from the billion-dollar Russian eyes. This is the detail that most analysts miss. Ukraine isn't just flying drones. They are conducting a mathematical execution of a flawed defense system. The 12-drone swarm is a calculated mix of technology and expendability. 4 of the units are $55,000 kinetic decoys, cheap, hollow frames equipped with radar reflectors to make them look like massive bombers on a radar screen. The other 8 are the primary $200,000 strike ghosts, carrying the lethal 165-pound high-explosive warheads. Ukraine has invested less than $3 million in this entire fleet. In response, Russia has already scrambled supersonic Su-35s and mobilized defense batteries that cost over $100 million just to operate for a single night. The return on investment is already skewed in Ukraine's favor before a single shot is fired. Even more devastating for the defenders is that the Liutyi drones have now disconnected from the external world. Knowing that the Russians have flooded the Saratov and Rostov regions with intense GPS jamming, the drones have switched to AI visual and inertial navigation. They are no longer looking at satellites for guidance. They are using onboard optical sensors to compare the real-time geography of the Don River to a pre-loaded 3D satellite map. They are navigating by sight, just like a human pilot, but with the microsecond reaction time of a neural network. Russia is trying to jam a signal that no longer exists. They are guarding the front door with a $1 million lock, while Ukraine is crawling through the ventilation ducts with a smart algorithm. The brain of the southern military district is now less than 60 miles away, and the Russian radar is still hunting for ghosts in the stratosphere. The trap is set, and the birthday gift is about to be delivered. 4:55 a.m. The home stretch. The Russian electronic warfare suite hits the red line, flooding the Rostov basin with a high-powered jamming field that severs 70% of the drone's radio link. To any ordinary drone, this would be a death sentence. But the Liutyi swarm isn't ordinary. The onboard nav brain immediately triggers autonomous AI mode, ditching the human pilot and relying solely on visual architectural recognition and preloaded 3D maps. It's no longer looking for a signal, it's looking for the skyline. Suddenly, the Su-35s from Taganrog reappear. One flanker E dives through the cloud layer at Mach 1.2, its R-73 missile vaporizing a decoy in a blinding flash. It looks like the hunters have finally pinned their prey. But this was the plan. The 3 remaining decoys break formation, initiating a violent zigzag maneuver and dumping massive clouds of chaff. The Su-35 pilot, seeing a sudden bloom on his radar, peels away to chase the Phantoms. The Russians are hunting ducks, while the Ukrainian sparrows have already entered the city at 40 feet. As they enter the urban heart of Rostov, a Pantsir S-1 battery on a government rooftop ignites the sky. Stadium-grade searchlights slash through the fog, and a wall of 30mm lead shreds 2 more drones. This is where Ukraine plays its River Ghost final card. One Liutyi is sacrificed, screaming into a nearby fuel depot. The resulting 300-foot fireball creates a massive, oily smokescreen that blinds the Pantsir's optical and thermal sensors for exactly 38 seconds. In that window of total sensory darkness, the final 5 drones transition into urban canyon mode. They aren't flying over the city, they are flying through it, weaving between 20-story office buildings to mask their thermal signatures and break the Pantsir's line of sight. They lock onto the target, the 4th floor window of the regional administration building, at a precise 23-degree angle. The Russian defense is firing blindly into the smoke while the Ghost is already navigating the office corridors. The final 10 seconds have begun. 4:59 a.m. The terminal phase. The airspace around the Rostov Regional Administration has devolved into a vortex of fire and frantic Russian radio traffic. But they are firing at phantoms. The thick, oily smoke from the sacrificial fuel depot hit has created a thermal graveyard that the Russian heat seekers cannot penetrate. Inside the Kiev bunker, the operator's heart is hammering a rhythm of pure adrenaline. The FPV camera feed is a shaky, high-contrast window into the heart of the enemy. He sees the target, the ornate 4th floor window where the Southern Command briefing room is located. Through the lens, he can see the outlines of furniture, the flicker of high-end monitors, and the shadow of a Russian guard on the balcony frozen in a state of terminal realization. He pulls the trigger. At 5:11 a.m., the anniversary of the invasion has officially begun with a masterclass in kinetic demolition. The 165-pound high-explosive warhead detonates inside the briefing room at 130 miles per hour. This isn't just an explosion, it is a clinical application of pressure and heat. The physics of the destruction are absolute. The 40-pound per square inch shockwave expands through the building's internal skeleton, treating the reinforced concrete floors like they were made of dry sticks. The pressure wave shears through internal support columns, causing the 4th, 5th, and 6th floors to collapse in a catastrophic pancake effect. Within milliseconds, the brain of the Southern Military District, the command center that coordinates the movements of hundreds of thousands of troops, is lobotomized. The secondary chain reaction ignites document stores and communication servers, turning the administrative complex into a 28-story giant matchstick visible for miles across the Don River. Every window in a 0.4-mile radius is shattered, raining razor-sharp glass onto the streets of Rostov. The strategic fallout is a death blow to Moscow's operational command. In less than 3 minutes, Ukraine has neutralized the nerve center of the southern front on the very day Putin intended to showcase his strength. The damage to the infrastructure alone exceeds $180 million, but the real cost is the loss of senior staff and the total paralysis of the southern theater's logistics. The black hole in the Russian chain of command just got a lot bigger. The economics of the strike tell the final, brutal story. Ukraine spent roughly $2 million to assemble and launch this 12-drone swarm. In exchange, they crippled a $100 million command center and disrupted an entire month of Russian offensive operations. That is a return on investment of over 9,000%. Putin probably called his generals this morning to ask why his headquarters was on fire. The answer is simple. Ukraine just sent the maintenance bill, and it was delivered by a ghost. Ukraine hasn't just hit a building, they've shattered an empire's sense of security. Who do you think the River Ghost should visit next? Comment Rostov 2.0 if you want to see the sequel. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next time Ukraine sends a birthday gift to the Kremlin. Bye for now.